with your hosts, Andrew Romanella.
I found this out recently, and I have to tell you, I'm very stupid. I don't understand it. I legitimately watched the entire women's triathlon the other day. I gotta tell you, that was exhilarating stuff. But I was locked in because what's going on, everybody? Welcome in to a live edition of the Rome Show here on 12ouncesports.com, Dingo TV channel 217. I am Andrew Romanella. I am back and better than ever here on this Wednesday, October 23rd, 2024, after what feels like a 70-day hiatus. It has been 5 days since I have been with the people here on the Rome Show live, and I have to tell you, I have missed everybody. But what a time those 5 days have been. If you were wondering where I have been Monday and Tuesday of this week, I took 2 days off from the show to celebrate, as you can see behind me, the engagement to my beautiful now fiance, Juliana Future Romanella Bellar. We had a great time with our family on Sunday. I proposed at the dock in Lake Hopatcong, New Jersey. Couldn't have been a better weather day. So awesome. Our entire family and friends were there. That was so awesome. And we spent a grand old time on a Sunday as Italians, Filipinos, and our family do. And we had a blast celebrating the engagement. So we thought, you know what? We deserve to take Monday and Tuesday off. Let's recharge the batteries. Let's recoup. Let's get all the celebration out of the system. And then we will get back to the Rome Show. And boy, did a lot happen in that same time span. We have a World Series starting this week. That's Friday. The Dodgers will host the Yankees for game number 1. Dodgers, Yankees, arguably two of the best players in the game right now in Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge, plus Juan Soto. So just stars up and down the strip there. Dodgers versus Yankees. The New York Liberty won their first championship in the history. Oh, wrong button. Won their first championship in the history of their franchise. 28 years, the New York Liberty were an original franchise in the WNBA. And despite Sabrina Ionescu going 1 for 19 from the field, her and Breanna Stewart combined for only like 6 total buckets in this game. The New York Liberty win in overtime, game 5 at home. And ladies and gentlemen, this is what it sounded like. And I got to tell you, what a time for New York sports right now. The New York Liberty win their first championship in nearly 30 years of existence. The New York Yankees are looking for their first championship since 2009. The New York Mets just lost in Game 6 of the National League Championship Series. The Devils are 5-3. The Rangers are 5-0. So what I'm seeing in New York right now is every team but football is carrying the torch for New York metropolitan area sports. And the Knicks, unfortunately, did not start the season very well last night, getting beat by 30 in Boston. I do not believe that's going to be indicative of the season the New York Knickerbockers are going to have. So when you look at the landscape of New York sports right now in 2024, you have to be excited if you are a New York sports fan, and you hope that the New York Liberty have just kicked off the winning in terms of championships, and you roll that into the Yankees, and hopefully you roll that into the Rangers and the Knicks. I think it's lost hope for the Jets and the Giants, but only time will tell. There's still 10 weeks remaining in the National Football League. Crazier things have happened. The aforementioned New York Knicks lost to the Celtics 132-109. I mentioned the Liberty before we played the sounder, and Sabrina Ionescu and Breanna Stewart, they combined to go 5 for 34 from the field in game number 5. They were a combined 1 for 13 from beyond the arc. Ionescu was 1 for 10 from beyond the arc. But here is why the team still had a chance to win. Jones scores 17 to lead the way. And then, coming off the bench, Naira Sabali scores 13. And that right there is the difference maker. You make up Ionescu only having 5. And then Stewie brings in 15 rebounds. Okay. Ionescu brings in 7 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals, and a block, and barely turns the ball over. So even though they could not score the basketball, they combined for 18 points, the 2 best players in 85 minutes. Can't happen in game 5. The Liberty still win 67-62. The WNBA players opted out of their CBA, so they'll be renegotiating the CBA. Just letting the people know, it is Wednesday, but we are going to have Hockey with Rocky join us because last night in the National Hockey League, that's what they called the Frenzy. All 32 teams in the National Hockey League played last night between like 6 o'clock and 11 o'clock at night Eastern Standard Time. So Rocky's going to get on the airways and break that down with you because we were not live yesterday. Before we bring him on, I just wanted to touch on one more item before we get into the Hockey with Rocky on Thursday, 10/24, which is, yes, my birthday. Get excited, people. Tomorrow, we will break down Thursday night football and go through an entire football rundown. What we didn't get a chance to talk about over the weekend in week 7 and what we think we're going to see Thursday night and beyond in week number 8. We got Thursday and Friday for that. Last night, there was history in the National Basketball Association on opening night in Los Angeles. The Lakers played host to the Timberwolves. They defeated the Timberwolves 110-103, but that was not necessarily the most important part of this game. What was the first minute of Bronny James' career. Here's what it looked like.
James just popped off the bench, out of bounds, along with LeBron. History tonight, the first father-son duo to play together in an NBA game. This is all in the family. And what a celebration for the James family. Bronny's brother and sister, his mom.
Now, Bronny did nothing. He's not going to do anything. He's not going to help the Lakers win games. He was 0 for 2 from the field, 0 for 1 from 3, picked up a rebound, was -5 and played 3 minutes. He's not going to affect this team. But I think smart on JJ Redick, the new head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. You're up by 16 with like 3:58 left in the first half against the Timberwolves teams that you believe you can beat the rest of the way. And he says, let me do this thing right here. So now LeBron loves me more. The fans love it. The people love it. And hey, you know what? The Lakers win on opening night. So maybe that's exactly what they needed. But history in the National Basketball Association, congratulations, no matter what you think about it. Congratulations to LeBron James and Bronny James, because as we've seen across history, Cal Ripken and his father, Ken Griffey Jr. and his father, there's like 9 hockey guys. I'm sure Rocky can start listing off the top of his head that were dads and sons in the league. This doesn't happen in the National Basketball Association. And it hasn't, which is wild because people have been drafted out of high school directly into the pros in the National Basketball Association. But either way, Bronny James and Dad, congratulations. Congratulations to you, the Rome Show listeners, because you're listening to an elite show that's about to bring on an elite hockey analysis guy. I'm just going to remind you, the Rome Show on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, X/Twitter. Follow us on social media. You know the deal. Let's bring that hockey guy in. His name is Rocky. It's Hockey with Rocky. Now, inside the glass, Hockey with Rocky.
Why What's going on, everybody? John Butchergross here, and I'm talking Frozen Frenzy. And it was
Called
Frozen Frenzy, yeah.
Frozen Frenzy. All right, give us the rundown.
Frozen Frenzy, all 32 teams in the NHL. They staggered the start times so that there was always a game in play at any moment throughout the night, from puck drop all the way through the final whistle, which is pretty cool. And they had ESPN2 had a NFL Red Zone style broadcast with Butcher Gross and Kevin Weeks, which was nice.
I like that. I watched most of the hockey frenzy that I watched yesterday was the Butcher Gross Red Zone style hockey. And I'm not going to lie, I need more of that in my life. Like, I need that every night.
Yeah, I mean, for historically, the NHL Network has always done a lot like live look-ins like throughout their nightly broadcasts. They've always done a good job, and I think that the morning NHL on the fly is still easily one of my favorite programs on television, as you get like the 5 to 6 minute condensed versions of every game every morning.
It's like when you run through the 3 minutes with Chris Berman at halftime of the NFL, and you're like, this is all I needed.
Except you actually get to see like the game. Like,
yeah, exactly. You're watching the actual puck. All right. So I have a question that I want you to break down. I know you had a path you were going to take here with the frenzy. I just wanted to simply ask you, was it good for hockey or do you shelf it?
No, it's fantastic for hockey, especially at the beginning of the season. Like you are. So, by the way, you're about to hit the sports equinox on October 28th, where all 4 major sports teams play on the same day. That happens once a year. Saw this clip on Instagram. Jen showed it to me. It was like really good. Anyways, but you're coming into the end of baseball. Football is in its prime. Basketball just started. Like, you're not the top, you're not the number one program when the 4 major sports. So when it comes to the beginning of the season, getting your stars airtime, running it through ESPN2, like a classic, ESPN2 NHL Tonight hockey feed. I mean, I don't see how you could lose that.
Well, and my big thing, I feel like at least, is they chose the right night. See, I think this is a part of my issue with baseball. Like, why is the World Series not starting tonight? I
don't understand why we're waiting till Friday.
Right. You have no football starting.
What are we doing?
You have no major hockey on because of what happened last night. I get it. The National Basketball Association is in technically night 2, but it's night 1 for a lot of teams. But it's like, you're going to wait till Friday. You're going to push it up against college football. You're coming off of Thursday night football, and you're going into a weekend of only football. I feel like, and now the storyline's 5 or 6 days away. And I feel like when you choose to do or start or be the prime subject on television really matters. And I got to tell you, Rock, I thought the NHL nailed it because, and I'm not the average working person, right? Like, my job hours are not like the normal person, but I had a normal day yesterday. I got off at like 5:35, and it was like right as the hockey was starting. And I'm like, they nailed this. Like, they nailed the timing on the start. They nailed the games were great. There were high scoring games. There were low scoring games. So I got to tell you, as you know, I always call myself the mid-level hockey fan. I know a lot about the sport, but I don't know a lot about like all the names and the teams and stuff. I'm just right in the middle. I fall like most people, I think. I could watch the sport. I love the sport. It's a great sport, but I'm not going to get intricate in the names, the teams, and all this other stuff. Whereas last night, Rocky gave me, the middle level fan, a chance to really dive into the sport from a depth standpoint.
Yeah, no doubt. And if you're mid-level, you learned about who the stars are. You learned about who's playing well, who's not playing well. Maybe you picked a team that you want to follow, or maybe you just got a little bit more interested. I mean, I just, I like it. And again, like, whether it's good or bad, I don't understand why. I don't think it's going to change its viewership, but like, I just don't get why I have to wait. Like, you had to force the Mets to play a double header and then hop on a plane and go play Milwaukee. They had a day off, and then they went and played in Philly. And then, like, they played the Dodgers, who went, like, it just, like,
and now
you force fed the wild card and the division series into the NLCS upon us, and now we're waiting a week.
Yeah, it doesn't make
why.
Sense. It makes no
sense. We moved
sense.
the season up so that we could finish in October this year, which everyone's pumped about. I just don't understand why I'm waiting a week when baseball like baseball is a sport where you don't wait days off. Like
Correct.
this is a longer break than the All-Star break.
There's never a time correct outside of the All-Star break where they're getting multiple days off like this in a row.
You're not making the product better to me. I think you're making it worse.
I agree 100%. I couldn't agree more with it.
And I'm high on baseball right now. I don't want to be mad at baseball. I'm loving baseball right now.
That was my problem. Yesterday when I was like, wait, there's no baseball on tonight? And my assistants were like, nah, not till Friday. I'm like, not till Friday.
I know you're losing so much steam. You've got this, like you've got momentum. Come on.
Dodgers versus the Yankees. Like, how are you not like,
football sucks. Football's killing me. Anyways, well, Frozen Frenzy was awesome, and it made me pay attention to the standings. And it's the first time I've actually kind of looked at the league, and where the league is at. And a couple of eye-opening people that we need to talk about, right? First, like we were excited. We did talk about the San Jose Sharks. We talked about Macklin Celebrini. We did mention him a couple weeks ago when we were on because he did get injured. And
2 more weeks out, I saw.
Yeah, he's out right now, which sucks. And the San Jose Sharks, 7 games in, are still winless. They have not won a game. There are 2 teams. They're the last team. Going into yesterday, there were 2 teams, but this is the last team that has not won a game at all this season. And, they did a lot of good stuff over the offseason. We were excited about them, and tough start for the San Jose Sharks. The next team that has also had a tough start, which is another team I talked about that I was very, very excited to watch, is the Nashville Predators. And last night during the Frozen Frenzy, they beat the Bruins 4-0, and it's their first win of the season.
Wild.
Of the season. They started 0-5. Steven Stamkos, Jonathan Marchessault, UC Saros, Brady Shea, Philip Forsberg. I mean, this is a high-powered team. They've got a -9 goal differential, and I'm worried. I'm worried about the Preds. And it starts in goal, and you've got to be worried about UC Saros, who just signed a big deal. Then Andrew, you know where else I'm worried? We're not worried. Listen, the Flyers, we're not worried about the Flyers. They're kind of who we thought they are. The team I'm looking at that makes me nervous right now is the Edmonton Oilers. 2 wins, -13 goal differential. Now, we talked a lot in the playoffs last year about the goaltending situation in Edmonton has always been the shaky piece throughout Connor McDavid's. But Stuart Skinner showed like, hey, I can be this goalie. I can be a team that backstops the team all the way through to the final, to game 7 of the final. And tough start for the Oilers. Is it a hangover? I don't know. Not much change on the roster. Interesting to see what Edmonton does climbing out of that hole. So as I looked at the standings, those were the teams at the bottom that stood out to me.
And I was doing some research on the Oilers last night because obviously during the frenzy where, we're getting the red zone thing and Butchie's Scott Hansen and he's doing all the stuff and they flipped to the Oilers game. And it was like, man, they at the time they had only 1 power play goal. Now they scored a power play goal last night en route to their second victory. But as it stands, I think the Oilers are 2 for 17 on their power play. They not only were the best in the league last year, Rocky, in the power play, they were like best in the history of the National Hockey League in the power play. So I think that right there goes a long way into determining their slow start this year.
Definitely. Yeah. And it's going to be interesting to see because that is going to be, what do we do with Leon Draisaitl? What do we do with Connor McDavid discussion? And I don't know if anyone in Edmonton wants to have that.
Time till the All-Star break. So we're going to shift gears real quick because some breaking news hit right before we got on the air. We're going to pop it up on the screen. Thank you, Michael Carvelis from 12 Ounce Sports. The Chiefs trading for DeAndre Hopkins, Rocky, from the Tennessee Titans. The Chiefs would send they would get the wide receiver from the Titans. I think it's a conditional 4th round pick that the Titans will receive. DeAndre Hopkins, if you were wondering, this year has 15 receptions, 173 yards, and 1 TD. Unfortunately, he's getting the ball thrown to him, Rocky, by Will Levis. In his career, however, He has been over 1,000 yards 7 times since he entered the league in 2013. 12,528 total yards, 79 touchdowns, Rocky, in his career. He's 67 away from 1,000 career receptions. DeAndre Hopkins going to the Chiefs. Your thoughts?
It's going to be, I think the talking heads early in the season are going to start talking undefeated season for the Chiefs after this DeAndre Hopkins trade. I think yesterday the noise was Cooper Kupp, and that was like that might have been like what they put out there to detract people from their dealings with DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, it's a great move. DeAndre Hopkins is a great wide receiver. I think most people have his stats and like his highlight reel from when he played for the Texans. He's kind of been like low key producing for the Titans, but the Titans in a I don't know what I don't know if it's a rebuild, it's a reorganization, but leaving Mike Vrabel behind, the no quarterback, like what are we doing? So it's a good move for them. A selling mode, but for the Chiefs, I think the conversation now is are we going to see that undefeated season?
Well, and here's the best part. It's not even like they're playing the greatest football to be undefeated right now. Patrick Mahomes, Rocky, I don't know if you know this, but he has more interceptions than touchdowns. There's your stat for the day. More interceptions than touchdowns at 8 interceptions to 6 touchdowns thrown on the year. They don't have their primary running back. Their lead back right now is Kareem Hunt. And they also lost what presumably was their number one wide receiver in Rashee Rice. So they just have Kelsey and Worthy right now. So you add Hopkins and you're like, they're 6-0 and they don't really have much. And if Patrick Mahomes starts playing with Patrick Mahomes, I think you're right. Breaking down their schedule, I just don't know if it's possible. You have to play Houston. You have to play Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh. You have to play Buffalo at Buffalo in November, Rocky. The rest of their schedule doesn't look insanely hard. But there are some games on there that unfortunately they're not good enough right now at 6-0 for you to believe that they could do that the rest of the way.
No, but every single team at the top of the AFC has that same story. Actually, I mean, Pittsburgh has that story. We don't even know who their starting quarterback is, right? Baltimore always has that story, even though they're historically high scoring and historically winning, right? Like in Lamar Jackson's career, like it really has been kind of a similar story. Like you don't really know what you're going to get from the Ravens every game. You expect them to win every game, but they're not there. And I think, personally, I think the jury's still out on Buffalo. Like, I'm not sold on that team being as good as they've been in the past. I think their defense is as good as they've been in the past, but I don't necessarily know if Josh Allen is playing up to the level that he's supposed to be playing at either. Their game management is suspect. And, I think the Houston Texans might be the most solid football team out of the AFC just based on like expectations, who we are, whereas everyone else, like the Steelers are outperforming what everyone thought. The Ravens are who we thought they were. The Bills, everyone wants more out of. And Chiefs, even though they're starting slow, I don't think have ever started fast. Usually they're they're like 5-1 right now with a really bad loss.
Yeah, or like 4-2. They lost on opening night. They started 2-2, and now all of a sudden they're 5-2, 3 straight, and you're like, oh, they're back.
So listen, it's a good get. It'll be interesting to see. Good for the Chiefs, I guess. And they're just going to score a million more points now for the rest of the year.
And this is the Rome Show here on 12ouncesports.com, Dingo TV channel 217. You could comment in just like Michael did here, and we could throw it up on the screen just like we did with Michael there, and we can get your thoughts and your inputs on the Rome Show. I am Andrew. That's Rocky. It is hockey with Rocky today. However, we have shifted to football during that breaking news. Rocky, you got about 2 minutes left and change. I want to give you back the floor so you can finish up your thoughts today.
Defenseman Cale Makar leads the NHL in points today, looking like he's off to a Norris Trophy winning start. Number one. Number two, Joey Logano wins race in Vegas on Sunday, securing the one of 4 spots for the Final Four that we'll see in 3 weeks, but you've got 2 more races in the round of 8. We'll see who can take those victories home and find themselves in the Final Four race in Phoenix coming up in November. And then the last and final thing is I feel I owe the people an update on the New York Football Giants, as a couple of weeks ago I went on my rant on their loss after the Commanders game. Since then, I have shifted gears to full-fledged. I no longer can support Daniel Jones. Wow. I believe that Drew Lock should be the starter.
Okay.
I'm surprised that Drew Lock is not starting in Pittsburgh this week, and I would expect Drew Lock to start for the remainder of the season if the Giants play as poorly as they played against the Eagles this past week.
I am surprised that after playing that poorly against the Eagles, they're not just making that decision now.
I don't think Joe Shane has to worry about his job. I think he picked the right players this year. I think the players got better. I think that Brian Daboll is now in a position where he can't be the scapegoat, and he needs to go manufacture some victories. And you saw that a week before the Eagles game when he was going for it on 4th down every play versus who'd they play? It wasn't Seattle. It was the week after Seattle. Anyway, it's escaping me because it's just so awful.
I understand. So hockey with Rocky and hockey with football. That's what you get here on the Rome Show.
That's where I'm at with the Giants. I had to give the people an update. And you know, it's just, you can hear it in my voice. I don't even know what to do with this guy, with this team.
I think it's time for a quarterback change in New York, time for a quarterback change in Miami, time for a quarterback change in Carolina, time for a quarterback change in we could go on and on. That's where the Giants are, and that's where like 15 teams every year in the National Football League. Rocky Romanella, thank you so much for your time today.
You got it. Congratulations on the engagement and happy early birthday.
Thank you. Yeah. Tomorrow, big 3-4 for the host of the Rome Show. It's exciting. Rocky Romanella, everybody. Thank you, sir.
Out.
Every week, usually on Tuesday, but this week we had him on a Wednesday. Hockey with Rocky. We can get into everything. That's the best part about that segment. The best part about this next segment is we win you some bananas. Dun, dun, dun. All right. If you were wondering, the last time I was on these airwaves was Friday. I did the research, okay? And on that day, I picked 4 different things. Commanders -8, Lions +1.5, Saquon 25+, receiving 50.5, rushing. Overall, that was like, as in like he did those things. And I got all 4 of them. Saquon ran for 167 yards versus the Giants the other day. What a comeback for Saquon. I think that's the best thing that might have happened over the week. Either way, Andrew went 4-0 and improved his record to 119-96. What a really good day for the kid. I love to crush the rushing plus receiving category. Okay. Tonight, we're going to go basketball. I got 3 for you because it's night number 2 in the National Basketball Association, but it's really like night number 1 for a lot of these teams. So I'm going to take the Milwaukee Bucks at the -3.5 over the 76ers. As it stands, I don't believe Joel Embiid or Paul George will be suiting up for the Sixers tonight. So give me the Bucks at the -3.5. Steph Curry, first game tonight at away in Portland without Klay Thompson for the first time in his career. I got Steph over the 4.5 threes made line, and then LaMelo Ball returns to the Charlotte Hornets, and I think he's going to be an assist machine. Give me LaMelo Ball over the 7.5 assists, and that are English are your daily bananas. This has been the Rome Show, 12ouncesports.com, Dingo TV channel 217. Follow us on the Rome Show 1. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, whatever it is. Just follow. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Andrew Romella saying, be electric. Peace!
Thank you for listening.